My name is Jason Willis. I'm project manager with Moran Ironworks for the fabrication of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife 57-foot research vessel Stanford H. Smith. What you see here today is several years of research and development with the fish team, and then a year worth of fabrication and launch, which happened a couple weeks ago. First, the keel was laid in January of this year. We have a corporate account manager who found the project, and we developed a relationship with the team and went from there. It's like having a kid. It's you're happy when they're developing, and you're ready to see them grow and sprout their own wings when it's all over. No, everything went pretty well. Trying to get the vessel to Sturgeon Bay right now without getting locked in by weather is pretty much our final hurdle.
What impresses you about the boat?
Well, its capabilities, the electronics that are on it. We wanted to have a versatile boat that could do bottom trawling, mid-water trawling, gill netting, and hydroacoustics, or echo sounding, which is a scientific grade fish finder, actually. Actually, we didn't have a boat before. This is brand new for us. We were trying to do a lot of our assessments out of smaller boats, trailerable boats, and to do the things that we need to do, especially offshore, we needed a vessel like this that can take the weather, but also have speed to get out there and back as quickly as possible. It's going to be a safer platform to work on. We have much more capabilities to fish. We'll be able to fish larger nets and so on, and it'll be great. We've been out on some sea trials, and everything that we've designed into the boat, it's working as designed, so that's great. We're anxious to get it back to Wisconsin, where it's going to be its home port in Kewaunee, Wisconsin. We'll probably pull it out once we get it there because it's late in the year, but we can't wait for next spring to get it out and do surveys. We do a variety of things. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and the Department of Interior kind of specializes in restoration of native species. So we have a lot of surveys regarding to lake trout, cisco, some sturgeon, whitefish, and that kind of thing. So we'll have a full slate of things. And the vessel also will be used not just in Lake Michigan, but we'll bring it over. We have an office in Alpena for Lake Huron, and we'll even take it up to Lake Superior if we have to do surveys up there.
My name is Mark Risch, and this boat was named after my grandfather, Stanford Smith. He did a lot of work on the Great Lakes, hence them choosing his name for the boat. And we're just honored to be here in acknowledgement of this great thing that they've done for him.
When you first found out about that they were going to name this boat after your grandfather, what was going through your mind?
I was just in awe that they would choose him. I know my grandfather, his heart and his mind were definitely into the Great Lakes, and just the honor that they chose him. If he were alive today, he would be so privileged. But he was a very humble person as well too, and he would say, well, that's a nice honor, but he'd just continue on with his work and go from that aspect.
And what are your thoughts seeing the final product?
It's gorgeous. It's a beautiful boat. I know he would be very happy to see it. It was interesting. We were just inside the cabin, and I was sitting there, and I asked my wife, Nicole, I said, well, I don't know if Grandpa would be driving this boat. He would want to be in the back, you know, checking out what fish are coming up and doing all of his scientific research, what he really loved doing.
Well, Stanford Smith was a research biologist for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife back in the 60s. And he actually did his PhD on ciscos in Green Bay. So a lot of the information that we know about today of the historical cisco population was recorded and published by Stanford Smith. So he was very instrumental in getting out some of that information. So, you know, some of our new focus on the Great Lakes may be in cisco restoration in Huron and Michigan. And just his legacy of doing outstanding fishery research and being a Fish and Wildlife Service employee back in the 60s. It was just a perfect fit and a great way to honor a previous research scientist for the Fish and Wildlife Service. This is our work deck area. Actually, over here is where we have our gill net lifter. So this door will open up, the roller will go out, and that's where we will retrieve gill nets. And the netting will come on here, and we'll pick fish out of here, and then eventually process them over on this table. So this one is just to clear the nets, get them repacked in boxes that will be on these supports. so we can set it back again for another day of fishing. Then over on this one, we'll actually do the measuring, weighing, taking scales, and other body parts that we'll use to analyze the different fish that we catch. Well, in addition, over here is the trawl winch controls. So when we're actually fishing our trawls out the back, we can operate how much line we set out and how deep we need to go, and that can all be done right here. Where we can also see output from the Pilothouse here, from our sensors we have on the net that tell how it's fishing, what the shape of it looks like that are underwater, that we receive those signals from a receiver on the keel of the boat. And then how we can operate different lights and stuff here as well.
My name's Keith Dufton. I'm the captain on the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service's larger research vessel, the Spencer F. Baird. And I'm basically here just to help out Mark and the rest of the team here with some of the questions about the boat or the piloting of the boat or the mechanical end of it.
And what are your thoughts about the final product here, how the boat turned out?
Excellent, real nice, real state-of-the-art equipment, and should be real nice for the service to do the work that they want to do with it.
And how long have you been involved with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife?
6 years.
And what have you enjoyed about being part of the team?
I guess getting into the nuts and bolts of building the boat, which I haven't really done before, but I can bring a little bit of knowledge from the time that I've sailed on the water, so I think that becomes helpful for everybody too involved. Basically, this is where it all happens, where it all makes the boat go. This is the steering wheel, and you can also steer it with a jog lever right here. Either way, it doesn't matter which way you want to do it. It also has an autopilot on it, so it's capable of steering itself with that. It has pretty modern equipment as far as navigational equipment here. You're looking at a heading sensor right here, and this you're looking at a chart plotting system with a radar, and these are new systems that they're called multifunction displays. So as you can see in this one, it has different displays displaying different information about the boat as far as navigation's concerned, water depth, temperature, and you also have anemometers, and everything is digitalized on this one. And then of course this is all the main engine controls, and this is the main engine controllers right here for engaging the boat forward and reverse. It has all the required and necessary equipment for navigation, AIS, VHF marine bands. It has closed circuit TV. Yeah, all the goodies that you need for a boat this size.
So now we're in the galley and head space. So you've got refrigerator, freezer, microwave, everything you need for a galley, hot plate. And in this section over here, you also have the head space, so restroom. And then also in this area, you have the access ladder and hatch for underway access to the bow.
So this is the tank room and main electronics area of the vessel. So to my right here, you've got the heating and air conditioning system. Behind the door, on the bulkhead wall, you see the brains of all the electronics. Just previously saw on the helm control upstairs. Also, house bank batteries, clean water domestic water tank, and then two 550-gallon fuel tanks for the vessel. All right, so this is the engine room of the Stanford Smith. This is basically where all the power for the vessel comes from. Two 500-horse John Deere, 13.5 liters apiece. A 16 kW Northern Lights generator set, and all the appropriate equipment to run the hydraulics and the net reels that are above deck on the workspace.
So for safety and ease of operation, this vessel is also equipped with a loudhailer or intercom system, so the guys on the deck can talk back and forth to each other hands-free, as well as shown on the screen 3 night vision cameras so that the captain or first mate is allowed to see what's going on the aft deck and the engine room at all times.
This is where we set all of our gear, a lot of it. These 2 reels are to store our trawls, bottom trawls or midwater trawls. These are nets that we pull through the water to catch the fish. We attach them to the 2 winches that are up there. There's what we call doors that spread the net. It's kind of like a planer board that's designed to take a net deep and then also spread it open. You know, the warp lines go through the gallows here, and you monitor how well it fishes out there. And when we pull it in over this roller. We will empty out the cod end, we'll open it up and take the fish and move them into the work area where we'll process the fish there. If we're fishing gill nets, we'll set the gill nets out the back here. We'll have a spreader here that kind of helps spread the net out so it sets perfectly fine, and so on. And then later on we'll go in the work area and lift it at the gill net station. We also have a science davit right here where we can set bathymetric science instruments where it measures depth and temperature and oxygen and pH and that kind of stuff. We can also tow plankton tows from that, so that gives us the ability to do sampling from surface to the bottom for those limnology type parameters. We have the deck set up so that if we're trawling at night, which we do when we're doing our hydroacoustic stuff because the fish come off the bottom, so we'll actually use the science echo sounder to determine what depth they're at, and then we'll fish a midwater trawl and target it to fish that depth to get those species there. But anyway, we're doing that at night when the fish are off the bottom. So we're rigged up with white lights and red lights so that if we're out at night we can turn red light on here and it's not so hard on the eyes and you don't lose as much depth perception and so on, so you can work at night more effectively.
I'm Mike Moran. I'm the corporate account manager for Moran Ironworks, and we've been doing more and more work for government contracting type projects. And we took a look at this boat when it came up for bid. We saw that it fit into our capabilities, and we decided to put in a major proposal and estimate on it. Put everything together, and we submitted the proposal to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and we were the successful bidder who was awarded the project back last year in August. Oh, it's phenomenal. It's a dream come true to see something like this put together in our factory in Onaway, and we put a lot of hard work into it and a lot of planning, and it's great to see sitting in the water now getting ready to go over to Wisconsin.
It went very well. We had some challenges to overcome, but we overcame them, and the final product is awesome to see now. It's
So tell us about some of those challenges you were facing with building this boat.
just different machinery on the boat we've never dealt with before, didn't know how it worked, and a lot of instruction reading to figure out how to mount things and everything. It's great. It's awesome boat to say I've helped build and everything like that.
My name is Ted Treska. I'm a supervisory biologist with the Fish and Wildlife Service in Green Bay. I manage part of the Native Species Program, which is going to use this boat to assess lake trout and lake whitefish populations in northern Lake Michigan for all the purposes that we've talked about before: hydroacoustics, trap nets, gill nets, and trawling, so to figure out what's going on with the population and how well they're doing. It's a great step up from the platforms that we had to use in the past. We originally, when I started with the service about 8 years ago, we were using a 23-foot boat, which in 3 or 4 foot waves is a hairy experience, and this will give us a much safer and more stable platform to do all the work that we need to do and be able to have some room to actually get the work done instead of being crammed on a small vessel. So this is leaps and bounds ahead of where we've been in the past.
David, I think that this is an incredible example of our teamwork and what we're capable of doing at Moran Ironworks. We have the best of the best, from the sales team to the production team. You won't find any better craftsmanship or work ethic. This is a beautiful example, and I'll use the words of Tom. He challenged us to make this the flagship of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife, and I think that the whole team performed incredibly, and this is a beautiful example of what we're capable of doing.
It runs like a dream, and it seems like it's going to be just I can't say enough about it. I think it's going to be a great experience for us.